Wilder Show podcast. Yeah, baby. I'm Scott.
I'm Lauren.
And yeah, there she is. There's Lauren. How are you today?
I'm well. I'm well. It's Pie Day.
It's Pie Day.
What could go wrong on Pie Day?
We'll talk about that. I've a little offering I would like to give or offer to our very faithful Wilder Show podcast listeners, and I'll do that in a minute.
Okay.
You can find us on Instagram. Just search Wilder Show or Wilder Show Pod, and you'll find it. You know the logo. If you want to send us an email, just email to podcast@wildershow.com. A reason to do that in a moment. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. So please like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share. Thanks for being here for the Wilder Show podcast. You mentioned Pie Day. What is Pie Day?
Are you asking me?
Yeah,
because
I
you're
am.
the one who loves it so much
Well,
because you're all into the math.
You're all into
I only have like...
You're all into Pie Day. Well, I am. I was a math geek nerd. Doesn't mean I was good at math.
I bet you were.
I just liked math. And the reason it's Pie Day is because it's 314, right?
Yeah, and those are the only digits I can do. I only know
okay.
the 3.14. Some
That's
people
okay.
can rattle on and on and on,
Yeah.
with all the rest of them. I don't know. I don't know that much.
That's okay.
I just know that it means that there's pie, and that usually there's either pie or discounts on pie or discounts on pizza, things like that to celebrate, and that's all I really need to know.
And so Pie Day, in the commercial world, they find a way to celebrate Pie Day, P-I Day, as P-I-E Day, and they do the whole thing with apple pie or sweet potato pie or whatever kind of pie, and then a pizza pie.
Yeah.
And what's the other kind of pie? You got the
Chicken pot pie.
Chicken pot pie. Yeah, exactly. And so I have an offering I would like to here at the very beginning give you to celebrate Pie Day. Now, Lauren, you can attest to that. My dearly departed Aunt Mary, my mother's sister, Aunt Mary, had a wonderful pie that she made for all holiday occasions, and it was the chocolate icebox pie.
Beloved by many.
And as has been noted here before, I'm not a very sweet person, and by that I just mean I don't eat sweets as much, although the other might apply as well, depending on who you ask. But I can always eat a full piece of Aunt Mary's chocolate icebox pie, and you can attest to this. You don't ever make just one of Aunt Mary's chocolate icebox pies.
No, one is never enough, because if you make only one and you take it to an event, you bring no leftovers home. And I kind of like to have a little leftover for myself after all is said and done. So you need to make at least two.
I've said you will be a hero. You want to be a hero? Make Aunt Mary's chocolate icebox pie. And here is my offering to you on International Pie Day. If you want Aunt Mary's chocolate icebox pie recipe, just send an email to podcast@wildershow.com. Podcast@wildershow.com. Now, let me quickly say, the people who have already requested my hints to help you with global domination in the game Risk are saying, yeah, he says that, but I don't have mine yet. I'm going to send you my strategy, my strategery for Risk, and I will do that today.
It's coming, yeah.
Here, can I be real honest?
Sure.
I wanted to make it pretty. and I'm really
That's
serious.
so sweet.
I have maps. I have maps that are part of it. So I'm going to make it prettier, and I will get it to you. And I promise you, I had one woman say, I really want this because I want to beat my son and my husband at this game.
So this is serious. I mean, this is a big deal. This isn't just a few bullet points you're sending.
Oh, no. I'm telling you,
okay.
if you will do what I send you, you will win. Now, patience is a big part of it, but I'll detail that in my tome that you will receive if it's not greater than your capacity of megabytes for email. So we'll get that for you. Now,
Okay.
let me also say thank you for those who have joined us over at the music side.
Yeah.
That's awfully fun, isn't it?
Over at the light.
Over at the light. So you turnonthelight.com. And people say, wait a minute, you say click and listen. What does that mean? Look, Lauren, you have some of the streaming services like the HBO Max and the whatever else
I do.
there is.
I do.
We don't ever think, well, that's a streamer. We
That's
say,
not
no,
really TV.
No,
We don't think that at all.
No, of course not, because of course it is. It's just a different way of delivering that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you cut the cable and all those things and you get your stuff in a different way, that's what radio is becoming. So if you want to get the radio of the future with the great songs that you loved in the past, assuming you like that kind of music, Lauren and I help you start your day every single day from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. At Turn on the Light. So you can go to Facebook, Turn on the Light. You'll find it there. You can like it. Please do like and subscribe or whatever you do on Facebook. I think you like and share. Anyway, whatever it is, you like it and do all the things. That's what I'm saying. Do all the things that you do on Facebook and then share it with everybody. It's so easy to share it with everybody on your list or whatever it is. So we invite you to do that. We thank you for doing it. It really is, honestly, as we said before, it's a radio station we listen to even when we're not on. Mm-hmm. So it's a great thing, great way to start the day, and we invite you to check it out. You know, when we came from music into talk radio in the olden times, in the olden days, when we came into talk radio from music, we had a lot of people that said, and really women more than men would say, I've never listened to a talk show, but I really do like your show. Mm-hmm. So we had people that had never done it before, but we kind of dragged them into it. They were open to it. And so likewise, if you have never been sort of a fan or listened to that kind of music, it's a great radio station, and we hope that you'll check it out. We've had people that listen right here and emailed the founder, the emailed the head honcho and said, hey, thanks for doing this. I heard about it from Scott and Lauren on the podcast. So I hope you'll check it out. We're there 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. every single weekday morning playing your favorite music. We like to say it's music that you love from people that you know. It's also based here. There are a lot of things that are out there that they're in Detroit or they're in California somewhere, and they kind of pump it in. They're not talking about the 50th anniversary of Chili's. They're not talking about spring break here in the Metroplex. They're not talking about the weather. So we do all of that because we're here. And to borrow a phrase, we're based here, best here.
That's right.
So anyway, we're excited.
Write that down.
Yeah, American Airlines, write that down. We are happy to be with you, and we're so thrilled to have the chance to do this with some of the great folks that, frankly, we built it with the first time, and we're rebuilding it again, but in a brand new way. So it's your favorite music from the 90s to now, and it is a brand new radio station, and it's not the same without you, so we hope that you'll join us. Wow, what a big deal it was with the blood red moon, the total eclipse, lunar eclipse that happened this morning. And I got to tell you, I mean, honestly, Lauren, I've said this behind your back. I felt so much better when you told me it's not real blood.
You know, I consider myself an expert on these things, so I'm glad I could put your mind at ease.
Isn't that something, though? It was, it happens again in, I think, maybe 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Yeah, 2.5 years. So if you missed it, that's the way it goes. But I think for those who saw it, pretty remarkable. For many of us, we say, it's 1:38 in the morning. I mean, dude, I'm on the radio at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm not gonna be going outside and saying, hey, look at that blood red moon. I will watch it, on the news reports. But if you saw it, it was pretty remarkable, really. We talked a couple of days ago about Gavin Newsom. And I think that the headline that I gave, of course, he's the governor of California. I said, everything fell under this umbrella. Gavin Newsom wants to be president.
Right.
And boy, isn't it funny? A day later, the Wall Street Journal says, see if this sounds familiar. they said Gavin Newsom wants to be president.
That's right.
So it is happening. He also, I think did he have Steve Bannon on his podcast?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Look, so he's loading it up with some of the firebrands of the right. And it really is, it's just evidence that he's really gearing up. You know who else is gearing up to run for president?
Who?
Pete Buttigieg.
Oh, really?
He is. Great signs, grand signs that he is going to run in 2028.
Okay.
So it's going to be really interesting to see, who gets all the support. I think Pete Buttigieg, I could be wrong about this, but I believe, based on what I saw, Pete Buttigieg actually has the highest either recognition or likability or whatever it is, the positive. They didn't say vibes, but it's sort of that thing, especially for that side of the political aisle. The vibes, man, were for him just under Kamala Harris.
Oh, wow.
So Kamala Harris still has the vibes, the good vibes for Democrats, and just below her in that ranking, according to what I read, is Pete Buttigieg. Look, I think, honestly, Gavin Newsom's going to blow Pete Buttigieg out of the water. I think he has a lot of power, he's got great hair. I mean, all the things you need to be president.
Great hair. Do you still think that Michelle Obama will ever run?
I don't know. I mean, I hope she doesn't. I think it's a bad idea if she does. The greatest fear with Michelle Obama running for president is not that Michelle Obama will become president. It is that if she becomes president, Barack Obama will become a Supreme Court justice. That is actually the thing that I not fear, but that I think about the most. And speaking of Supreme Court justices that will disappoint, Amy Coney Barrett is disappointing an awful lot of conservatives, and perhaps in the future we'll talk a little bit about that. But she is really there was a what do you call it? The people that look at your body and see if your body is telling the truth. What's it called?
Body language experts?
Yes. There's a body language expert. They were talking about Amy Coney Barrett's body language at that speech to the joint session of Congress. And I'm not a body language specialist.
No,
but they were saying, she's out. She's not a fan. And who knows where she'll go. But, Sandra Day O'Connor, who became that middle justice, she was put there she was the first woman to be a Supreme Court justice.
That's right.
And she was put there nominated by Ronald Reagan. Sandra Day O'Connor was a huge disappointment to conservatives. And there are some people that wonder or believe that perhaps Amy Coney Barrett will be the same. I hope it's not the case. I like her a lot. But she has certainly taken the other side on some pretty tight decisions. It were 5-4, and had she not gone that way, it would have been 5-4 the other way. So there you go.
Gotcha. Oh, earlier this week, did you see the news about Southwest Airlines?
I think I did. What was it?
Well, they've been known for decades, really, for a couple of things. One was no assigned seating,
right?
And that is about to change,
right?
And then the other one that they had just boasted about, the big guys boasted about this last fall, were their bags fly free. 2 bags could fly free, and they announced this week that is no more.
Oh no!
Beginning May 28th, any flights booked May 28th and beyond, you will have to pay, just about like anywhere else. There are a couple of caveats for this, though. If you are a member of their loyalty program, Rapid Rewards, you can still get at least a bag or 2 for free. Some of these things are still kind of being ironed out. If you have a business select fare or a Southwest Airlines credit card, things like that, you can still get a bag or 2 for free. But other than those exceptions, it will be pretty much just like any other airline where you have to pay for your bags to be checked.
Didn't they? I think they were the carrier that trademarked bags fly free.
I think they did. Yeah, they're not going to be able to use that anymore. That will be a wasted trademark. So as you can imagine, though, people, other carriers, and in this case, it's not really an airline, but they're jumping on this to take advantage of it. And Amtrak wanted everybody to know that you can still your bags will travel for free if you take Amtrak.
Have you spent any time on a train?
We used to take the train fairly often when I was much younger, and we lived in Minneapolis, but most of our family lived in Chicago, and so we would take the train from Minneapolis to Chicago, and then home again after, and it was quite lovely.
Yeah. How long a train ride is that?
At the time, it was about a 9-hour train ride.
And does it stop along the way, or is it a straight shot?
It would stop along the way a couple of times. At the time, that was way longer than it took us if we were driving there. Sometimes we would go, like before my dad could get off of work, if school was out for Christmas a little bit earlier, my mom and my sister and I would take the train, and then my dad would meet us there, and then we'd all drive home together after the holidays. But it was a long trip, but it was fun.
No, I have done that a couple of times, and one of the times, probably if I had to pick like one trip to China that I would want to do again, we had flown from San Francisco to Shanghai. And then we stayed in Shanghai for 3 days. This was for a ministry thing. We stayed in Shanghai for 3 days, did some work around there. And then at the end of those 3 days, we got on a sleeper train, and we went 10 and a half hours from there to Beijing.
That sounds lovely.
Listen, and we were there then in Beijing for 3 days. And then at the end of those 3 days, we got in another sleeper train. It was a 11-hour train ride. And we went from Beijing to Xi'an. So I don't know if you know much about China, but those 3 cities are sort of the 3 main cities. Let's liken it to America for a second. The political capital of the United States is Washington, D.C.
Right?
Mm-hmm. That is Beijing.
Okay.
The cultural capital of the United States, the shot heard round the world, is Boston, right? So Boston would be that. And then the financial center of the United States is New York, right?
Yeah.
In the same way, you have Shanghai, that is the financial center of all of China. And then you have Beijing, which is the political center of all of China. And then you have Xi'an, the terracotta warriors and all that.
I do.
The Ming Dynasty and all that. That is there in Xi'an. So in that one trip, we went to all 3 of those big places. And between those 3 cities, we took 2 sleeper trains. And at the end of it, I think we flew to Hong Kong, then flew back to San Francisco. Anyways, it was really something. If I ever had the chance to do that again, I'd love to do it. When I traveled so much overseas, I've told you this in person many times, it always felt weird.
What?
Well, to go and to see these great things and to be alone.
Oh, yeah.
And to say, gosh, I wish they were with me. Or I wish she was with me. I wish he was with me. They would really appreciate this. And it always felt weird to be there in this place to see things that I never thought I'd see.
Yeah, I get that.
And I always thought, if all goes well, that is to say, if I live, a long time and have the opportunity, I'd love to bring whoever that is, whoever those people are, with me back to see these things in person. Because I think I wouldn't be watching those things. I'd be watching them watch those
Experience
things.
that. Yeah.
That's sort of a weird sort of regret. But I love the train. The train is a very good way. I would like to take the Banff train, the train across Canada.
Yeah.
All the way across Canada. Just do the whole 2-week thing or whatever it is. I'd love to do that.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah, train is just a great way to travel if you can. And according to Lauren, bags roll free.
They do.
So, it is time for Scattershoot.
Okay.
Scattershoot, Wilder Show Scattershoot. It's where we, cover lots of things, and it may not be this, or it may not be that, or maybe all those things. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
It makes complete sense to me.
That's what I mean. It's scattershoot. Let me start with this way. I want to say something good about Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh, wow. I don't know if I've ever heard those words come out of your mouth before.
First for everything. I'm very sanguine, Lauren. I'm very sanguine in my current age.
It's a good look.
Aw, thanks. Thank you, Lauren. It's very, very sweet of you to say. I want to say something good about Rosie O'Donnell.
Okay.
And this is not, I'm not being funny. I really am serious about this.
I think I know where you're going.
Well, look, she has left America for Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
And she's left America because she doesn't believe America is, a good place. It's not equal for everybody and all this kind of stuff. And she is among those celebrities and others who said that if Trump were to win, she would leave, and she is gone. And I'm not. It's not like a funny thing of saying, "Thanks, Rosie. It's one great thing you did. You left, and we're, don't let the door hit you on the way out." It's not that.
No.
She said she would leave, and she left.
I commend her for that.
That's what I'm saying. Look, nobody should stay where they don't feel they're safe or whatever. I mean, I disagree with her, obviously.
Yeah.
But if she wants to live somewhere else, I'm the last person to say you should stay in a place where you don't like it. It's the old thing of love it or leave it. Mm-hmm. So if you don't love it, then leave it.
And if you said you were going to leave, if something happened, if somebody was elected, and then you don't, I mean, how long have we been here? I mean, you got to go many elections back to find the genesis of that. If he wins again, I'm leaving.
How long have we waited for Barbara Streisand to leave this country?
And then they just don't go, which
they
seems
never were
to
going to
me
go, right?
It's just all of these empty threats. I will give that to Rosie O'Donnell.
Wait, so it's almost like, oh my goodness, I was going to vote for this other guy, but if I vote for that guy, Barbara Streisand said she would leave. And what kind of world would this be if Barbara Streisand lived in another country? Whatever, it doesn't matter, whatever. So look, good for Rosie O'Donnell, good for Ellen, good for all the people that decided for whatever reason that they don't want to be in this country. And that's fine. I want you to be happy, and we want to be happy. So if you want to leave, then leave. To quote one of the great quotable movies of all time, Napoleon Dynamite. You know what?
I knew I wouldn't be disappointed. I didn't know what you were going to say, but I knew I wouldn't be disappointed.
You know what, Napoleon? You can leave. And so that's good. I mean, if they want to leave, then leave. We don't want people to be uncomfortable. We don't want people to feel like they're unsafe. I don't believe that. I don't believe that Rosie O'Donnell is unsafe if she were in the United States. But if she look, I want her to be happy. I don't really care where she lives, and good for her. If she said that if Trump wins, I'm going to leave, and she left, and really, there's nothing hidden, nothing passive aggressive in this. I really want to say something good about Rosie O'Donnell. She said she would leave, and she left, and so I wish her and whoever she's with,
her daughter.
Youngest daughter, really?
Youngest daughter.
How old is her youngest daughter?
A teenager, maybe 17, something like that.
That's a little bit different. When you take your daughter out of the country. I mean, Ireland. Ireland, I think, is a lovely place.
Yeah.
But I don't know about that. But that it's her business. She's in charge of her daughter, and good. Go good on her. Have a great, hopefully, life. If she wants to come back, come back. But it's kind of the whole thing has been so silly to watch people say, hey, if so-and-so wins, I'm, sort of what's it worth to be? Okay, so you think that the quality of life in the United States is tied to one person? Look, we've had bad presidents, and we've even had bad people that are president, and somehow the nation goes on. There are another 379,999,999 other people in the country that constitute what it means to be in America. We talked before, I think last time, or maybe time before, about grocery shopping. And when you go to the grocery store and you see the chance to go to the thing where you check yourself out.
The self-checkout.
Self-checkout. And so I it's funny because I have a son in the service, and he's in California. He's in San Diego. And he sent me a voice message just a couple of days ago, and he said, I was thinking about you guys because he said, I listen to the podcast every Tuesday and Friday morning.
Nice.
He said, it's part of my life. And it's been kind of fun to do something that your kid would listen to.
Sure.
And as he was saying, I was at the grocery store, and he had been out of state for a wedding or something. He came back into San Diego, and he said, we have the thing out here where we don't have bags. You have to pay, for the bags.
Yeah.
If you get a bag, you got to pay for it. And the people that are the baggers, at least where he goes, you can request or you can say yes or no to whether you want someone to be bagging the groceries for you. So not only do you have to bring your own bags, even when someone else checks you out, you have to then bag your own groceries, or you can have someone do that.
But wait, does it cost more if you have somebody?
That's the thing. Listen to this. They work largely on tips.
Okay.
And so there's this big box at the end of the check, a little conveyor belt thing that it's for tips for the person that bagged your groceries. And Chris was like, he didn't know. He said, I'm not going to pay a tip for that.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
Is it like actual cash tips? Because so many people don't carry cash.
That's part of what he was
anymore.
saying. He said, I don't have any cash. He said, I wasn't. It's a matter of principle. I wasn't going to do it. He said, but as I nodded to the girl that sacked the groceries and said thank you and grabbed my stuff to leave, the checker said in a voice loud enough for others to hear, I guess he doesn't know that you get paid on your tips.
Ooh.
And we were having a text exchange. I said, so hold on a second. I said, so if you pay the same amount for groceries, and then when you have someone bag your groceries, you have to pay more for someone to bag your groceries. But if you check out your own groceries and bag your own groceries, you don't get a discount.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
No.
So anyway, I just thought I'd share that from the left coast.
Speaking of the left coast, a list came out this week of the 10 happiest cities in the United States.
All right. What are they?
Actually, it ranks a whole lot more than just 10 cities, but I have the 10 happiest here. And you would be amazed, first of all, like 5 of them are in California.
Yeah.
But the number one happiest city is Fremont, California. And I know why you're laughing. And let me give you just a little background. This is a report that comes from Wallet Hub. Yeah. They did the research. So you can guess that it's going to have a little something to do with money.
Tied to money.
And I can tell you more about that. But when I saw Fremont, California, I mean, you know why that jumped out at me. Yeah, we had a terrible experience.
I'll tell that in a second. Go ahead.
Yeah. So part of the reason is that 80%, nearly 80% of the residents, households in Fremont have an income above $75,000.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And apparently $75,000 is kind of a sweet spot.
Okay.
Happiness increases steadily as income increases until $75,000, where happiness appears to sort of flatten out. So you're about as happy as you're going to get once you're making 75. Like, in other words, you might get happier, but it's not because of the money that you're making. Yeah. So the people there are set well for happiness in that case. And then also, and there were some other things that they also looked at depression rates and employment opportunities and things like that. But there was another thing that they scored pretty highly in. Yeah. Marriages last longer in Fremont, California. They have a divorce rate of only 8.9%, which is the lowest rate in the nation.
Golly, that is really surprising. Can I tell our tale of woe?
Oh yeah.
From Fremont, California. Fremont is a suburb of San Francisco,
which is also on the list, by the way.
Oh,
San
really?
Francisco.
Is it really?
Yeah, in the top 10. Go ahead.
We were there, and we were there on work, and we had stopped to get a bite to eat at lunch.
Middle of the day.
Middle of the day. I mean, totally middle of the day, and got out of the car and walked into the place. And I swear, did I go back? You
did.
went back. Okay, go
Yeah.
tell the story. You tell the story.
Well, we asked for a table, and they were going to sit us outside.
On the patio,
and
right.
it was a little bit chilly, and I said, I'm going to run back out to we had a rental vehicle.
Pickup. It was a pickup truck. Yeah.
I said, I'm going to run back out to that truck and get my jacket. We hadn't been in the restaurant. We hadn't been in the restaurant for 60 seconds.
Yeah. Back up for a second. I mean, literally less than 60 seconds.
Yeah.
We walked into the place. At the little hostess thing. Can you still say hostess?
You can.
At the hostess thing. And,
I'll allow it.
And thank you. And she said, outside? Okay, fine. And I mean, immediately walked up, one sentence. Lauren turned around, walked back out, and
I walked up to the truck, which was parked pretty close to the restaurant. And I looked at it, and I thought to myself, this can't be our truck. This passenger window is smashed. To pieces. And it wasn't just 60 seconds ago when we left it.
Correct.
But it was our truck.
Yeah.
And they had reached in, they'd smashed the window, not just our truck, a couple of trucks in that parking lot, in that very crowded parking lot of
At
a
lunch.
very crowded
At
restaurant at lunchtime with people outside the restaurant waiting for their tables. And they just smashed the window, reached in, grabbed a backpack.
My backpack.
Totally our mistake. We should have never left things like that in the car. But we thought, broad daylight, middle of the day.
The thing is, it was, first of all, we had a pickup truck, and there's no trunk that you could put your stuff in.
That's true.
And we didn't, we're just stopping, from point A to point B, stopping to get a bite to eat, and literally seconds, and smash. There were 3 different vehicles. It was smash and run, or whatever they call it.
Smash and grab.
Yeah, something like that. And I think I put it in the back seat or in the floorboard or whatever. It was not really like right there on the seat. Anyway, they took it and stole my laptop, stole my iPad. It had work on it. We were there for work. So it really messed everything up. It was just, I think like the next week we were in Seattle or something.
Yeah. And
then we had to buy the new, it was just crazy what happened. And so Fremont, California, I've always, and I've been there many times, I like staying in Fremont, California. But even the policeman that came out, he said, hey, sorry, this happens all the time. Welcome to California. I was like, dude.
If nobody's life is in danger, would you put your own life in danger to try to stop that?
I don't know, but all I know is that in talking to the police, I expected a little more than welcome to California.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's the kind of nonsense going on in San Francisco that they've now had to reverse where, if someone steals like $999 worth of goods from your store, your obligation is to give them a sack or a bag to put it in.
Well,
so my son in San Diego has to pay for a bag for the groceries that he pays for, but we offer a bag for stolen goods to thieves in some of the cities in California. Anyway, that was our experience with. I'm totally ruining your happy story about happy cities. Anyway, I cut myself on the glass. I didn't even know, and anyway.
It was a very unhappy experience for us in the happiest city in America.
Amazing.
But we wish them well, and we're glad that they're very happy. And unfortunately, no Texas cities in the top 10 happiest cities, but none were in the bottom 10 either. So we're okay.
I think a lot of times those lists, because Denver is always like high on some list, and San Francisco is always high on some list, and Seattle is always high on some list, but a lot of those things, the ranking is on. I don't know. It's on weird things like square acres of public parks and the number of dog parks.
Well, that
in
can
a
make
city.
people happy.
Well, sure, I understand, but I'm just saying. Meanwhile, the taxes are out of control and crazy policies in liberal cities. The homeless people are everywhere.
Wait a minute. Do you want to know what the rest of the list, the other 9 of the top 10 happiest cities?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we start with Fremont, California,
Right.
then San Jose, California.
Okay, that's also a suburb of San Francisco.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Irvine, California.
Okay.
Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Interesting.
Overland Park, Kansas.
Okay.
Lincoln, Nebraska.
Really?
Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Scottsdale, Arizona.
I like Scottsdale.
San Francisco, California.
Really?
Huntington Beach, California.
I love Huntington
Yeah,
Beach.
that's all of them.
That's all. Okay, so it's, those are all fairly, okay. Well,
I
good.
mean, if beach is in the title, I can see why you might be happy. Or beach is in the name. That might make me happy too.
Yeah.
We talked earlier this week on Tuesday's podcast about the significance of this week and what had happened 5 years ago this week in terms of the WHO declaring the COVID-19 a pandemic and how that changed so much about, what had changed and what hasn't changed. And I saw something this week that talked about how we've become a nation of homebodies.
Homebodies.
And really, I mean, at first glance, you would think, well, of course we have. After everything we went through 5 years ago, that a lot of people just went home and decided, I'm just not going to come out as much. But it's not really about COVID at all. Time spent out of the house has been falling since 2003.
Really?
A long time ago.
That's hard to believe.
I know. And there was a steep drop off in the number of minutes spent outside of the house in 2020, but only a little bit of recovery since then. So it seems like even when everything opened up again, a lot of people just decided, I'm still going to stay home.
So what is it? What is it that people are doing? I mean, they're just deciding to stay home, or what do you? I mean,
well, a lot of people have decided that they really like it at home, and they don't really have to do without very much. I mean, you remember when we used to go to the movies? I mean, you still can go to the movies, but movie theaters across the country are closing because we have the opportunity to stream even first run movies at home. So I think a lot of it is just technology. You don't really have to go out to have a coffee date with a friend. You just FaceTime them. You drink your coffee at home and you have a visit with your friend over FaceTime or some other kind of video chat. Also, there's hardly anything that you can't get delivered to your house. You can get your groceries delivered. You can get just about anything delivered. There aren't the reasons to leave that we used to have to.
We talked about this too, because Barnes and Noble, they are opening just a ton,
like 60.
I mean, it's amazing how many stores are being opened. Barnes and Noble, and you and I, when we talked about this, sort of off the air, I think really, I mean, I thought we learned this lesson, because when I go into a bar, now we're different. You and I are different in so many ways, but I'm a buyer and I'm not a shopper. You're a shopper. So you can go into a place and go, I don't know, I'm going to get this, but I might also get 5 other things.
Didn't even know I needed that.
That's right. But I'm not like that at all. I don't care about that. So for me, it's very frustrating to walk into fill in the blank, whatever the name is, not necessarily Barnes and Noble, but I bring
Home
them
Depot.
up.
Bad example.
Well, that's a real bad example, because I do walk around buying stuff. I need a big box fan and a big brand new trash can. But when it comes to let's say like Barnes and Noble, when I go in and I'm going to buy, let's say I'm going to buy G.K. Chesterton's Orthodoxy: The Romance of Faith, and so that's a bookstore. I want a book. I'm going to go in and say, I'm looking for G.K. Chesterton's Orthodoxy: The Romance of Faith. It was written in 1904, and they thumb through something, or you don't thumb anymore, but they get on the computer and they say, oh, yes, we can order that for you and you can pick it up on Thursday. It's like, dude, in the parking lot, I can order it and it'll be in my house tomorrow. So what is the advantage of the big box retailer for? So I don't know. I mean, I do want people to get out and do stuff. I like that idea. But I understand what you're saying is that we've all sort of changed the way we get stuff. I mean, why in the world would I waste time driving to a place where I have no indication that they have it?
Yeah.
When I can just, before, in my car, in the garage, about to leave, and I think, before I go out and do this hour and 10-minute round trip with no hope or no guarantee of success, I think I'll just go online and I go online, and they have it, and I get it, and they say, it'll be here between 2 and 4 today.
I think you're right. You really have to enjoy the serendipity of what you might find while you're out looking for what you think you need.
Okay.
And then if you can't find what you needed, you can still go home and order it and have it delivered between 2 and 4 o'clock this afternoon. But you're right. I mean, you're giving up time.
But that's, I mean, people are different. I mean, you may say, I didn't get the book that I wanted, but I got these candles. It's like, oh, okay. That's
if I had
good.
a nickel for every time I'd said that.
But if it makes you happy, it makes me happy. I mean, so that's good. It's just not me. I mean, if I want jeans, I know the kind of brand I want for jeans. I know the size I want for jeans. I know the style I want for jeans. That's not enough. If I'm going to a mall store, I want to know what is the closest entrance to where those jeans are resting.
We're so different.
And I will walk in and say, I want those. And I say, here is my money. And then I walk out.
It's like you're speaking a foreign language.
I don't. But you know what? The truth is, you put me in a hardware store or with the barbecue type stuff or smokers and grills, or you put me in an electronics store, and I'm a girl at Hobby Lobby. So that's scattershoot. But let me just remind you that if you want Aunt Mary's chocolate pie recipe, we're celebrating International Pie Day. It's 3/14. Now, you may be hearing this on some other day, and that's cool. We'll be happy still to send you the recipe. It's Aunt Mary's chocolate icebox pie, and it is absolutely the bomb. It is a great pie, and that's from a guy that doesn't like sweets. It really is tremendous. You can attest to that.
Absolutely.
All right, so if you want that, just send that request. Send us an email to podcast@wildershow.com, and we will send you Aunt Mary's chocolate icebox pie recipe. You will not be disappointed. You will be a hero to anyone you give a piece of that pie to. And for those who are still waiting to dominate the world with the game of Risk, your very attractive plan is on its way to you. So thanks for that request. If you still want that, you didn't request it, you can get that too. The hints and the tips to win the game of Risk. Just send that request to podcast@wildershow.com. Okay, we're on Instagram. Find us there. You know the email address I've just told you. It's wildershow.com is where you find us on the web. And the Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. So like, rate, follow, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. WilderShow.com, and I have no idea what I'm talking about, so hold on. Wilder Show, Monkey, and 222. And again, Amy Coney. Is it Coney?
It is.
Hold on.
We could do, I don't know. I mean, by this time, has everybody heard about Southwest Airlines?
Yeah.
News.
Yeah. So you want to just pick it up?
Let me grab the details really quick
Yeah, sure,
about
no
Amtrak says now they will offer, they have a free luggage policy.
Oh, really? If you want to ride the train instead of a plane?
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I think that sounds lovely.
And a train ride is, and we can talk about that.
Will take you forever, but...
That's good, though. Who's in a hurry? Mama. Okay. You can go whenever you want.
Okay.
You ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay. It's still freezing up here. I don't know what's going on. If we lose all this, my head's going to explode. You put me in a hardware store or you put me in an electronics store, I'm a girl at Hobby Lobby.